So we started with the word problem, developed a state diagram, then developed the state table. Now our goal is to shrink the state table, sort of like a kernel map. We're going to draw an implicant table, then an equivalent state list, then a coverage map, and then we're going to shrink this state table, revise the state table. An implicant table is just a way of comparing this row with this row, all possible rows with each other. So a quick way to organize ourselves so that we compare every row with every other row is to start off this column right here at B, skipping A, and just count down to D, E, F, and G. And then down here, and these are going to be our rows. And then down here we're going to have our columns, A, B, C, D, E, and F. So I go like this to build the table. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to compare row A with row B. Are these two rows identical? Is it possible they could be identical? No, they can't because the output changes right here. So we have to put an X right here in this box. Now we're going to compare row A with row C. If row A and C are going to be identical, the outputs have to be identical. Okay, they are. So if row A and C are going to be identical, then A and F have to be identical. So I'm going to write down A, comma, F. And B and E are going to have to be identical. So I'm going to write down B, comma, E. A and D. Okay, so if A and D are going to be identical, then A has to equal D. Well, we're already supposing that. And B has to be equivalent of F. So I can write down B, comma, F. Now we're comparing row A with row E. Okay, A and B and G have to be the same. A and B and G have to be the same. Now I'm comparing row A with row F. I can't because the outputs don't match. So I put a big X. They can never equal each other as states. How about A and G? Yes, but A equals A, that's redundant. B and F have to be equal. All right, next one. B and C. Can't. Outputs don't match. B and D. Can't. The outputs don't match. B and E. Can't. The outputs don't match. B and F. Outputs match. So D would have to equal G, and C equals C is redundant. So D and G. D and G would have to be equal. B and G. Yeah, the outputs don't match. C and D. All right, they can match. F and D, E and F. C and E. C and E could work. So it'd be F and B, E and G. Now C and F can't because their outputs don't match. And C and G could work. That'd be A and F. The order here doesn't matter. A and F. Otherwise we'd be doing the whole square, not just this triangle. D and E. Be D and B, F and G. D and F. I can't. Oh, rats. Okay, shouldn't have written those down. And then G and D. A and D, E and F. All right, E and F. No. E and G. B and A. And then G and F. And then finally we have F and G. Can't. So checking my work, it looks like I made a mistake right here. It should be F and F. So I need to cross this out. And here we can see it typed out. Now we're not finished with the implicant table here. All we've done is captured the possibilities. Now we need to go through this over and over and over again until we've eliminated all the impossibilities. Here we know F cannot equal G. There's a big X in it. So there's no way that E could equal G. I'm going to put a big red X through it. And we start from this end and work our way through the table. So now we know E can never equal G. So we go there, check. No, there's an E equals G, so that can never equal. Is there another one? No. Now we go up here to E and F. So that can never be true. This one can never be true. G and D can equal each other still. We might have a problem before we get through all this, but right now they still can equal each other. So we go over here to C and G. Do I see a C and G? C and G. C and G. No. Okay. C and F can never equal each other. C and F. No. C and E. C and anything. No? Okay. B and G. No, that one can't. Okay. B and G. So right here, B and G. B and F can still equal each other. B and E. That one. B and D. No. B and D. B and C. All right. A and G can still equal each other. A and F. A and E. A and D can still equal each other. A and C. A and B. No. Okay, so this is good. Now we're ready for the equivalent state list. Okay, so now I'm going to build the equivalent state list. So I'm going to start right here. I know that G and D can equal each other. G and D. So I'm just looking where there's no X's. B and F can equal each other. A and G can equal each other. A and D can equal each other. So now I can go from A to D, that's with this one, and then from D to G with this one, and then from G back to A with this one. So I know that G, A, D, and G are an equivalent state. That's one state. And B and F are equivalent states. So now what we need to do is a coverage map. Okay, so we've got the equivalent states here. A, D, G, B, and F. All right. And we want to do a coverage map. So this is a lot like a Petrick cover. And what we want to do is write down, let's just use this table right here for right now, F and B, and A, D, and G, and see what's covered. So F and B cover F, states F and B, and A, D, and G, that's A, D, and G are covered. So the only states that are left uncovered are this state right here, and this state right here. So we're going to have four states. We're going to have A, D, and G. That's this. We're going to have F and B. That's this. And then we're going to have C and E. So this is our coverage map. Okay, so the next step is to revise the state table. So here I see the cover map. I can see that I got A, D, and G, and F and B. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to say, okay, A is equal to D and G. So wherever I see a D, I'm going to cross it out and put in an A. Wherever I see a G, I'm going to cross it out and put in an A. Wherever I see an F, I'm going to cross it out and put in a B. Now what I can do is cross out the rows that are the same. A, B, 0, 0, A, B, 0, 0. So G we don't need anymore. So we're sort of checking our work. A, B, 0, 0. A, B, 0, 0. So we don't need this row D anymore. B is AC 01. F is AC 01. So we can get rid of this row. So then we're left with 4 rows. We've reduced this from 7 states requiring 3 flip-flops to implement to 4 states requiring 2 flip-flops to implement. With these 4 states right here. So let's check our work. Yeah. So what we have is this D right here changing to an A. We have this F right here changing to a B. And we have this G right here changing to an A. All right, we've finished revising the state table and we're done with this implicant table step. Now we're going to do another implicant table problem. This is an implicant table for the state diagram that had 15 states on it. We've labeled them A through O. The thing that's different about this one is you can see these check marks right here. That means the states are equivalent to begin with. So there's no need to check them. They're going to be equivalent. So what I'm going to do now is go through and check, put X's through these with a red pen. L, O, 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 L, M, K, O, K, O, K, O, all right, so we finish with K, O, K, N, K, N, J, O. So it took me about 20 minutes to do this, and I worked my way just once in this direction. And looking at the answer down here, it's fine. I did everything right. It turns out that I started right here and worked my way up, and then I went back down and worked my way up, and I went my way down, skipped that one, worked my way up, then I went down, worked my way up. And at some point I went back here and I crossed these guys. And that means I should go back and do this whole thing again for another pass until I don't make any changes. Now each pass is going to get less and less time. This first pass took 20 minutes. But, you know, I don't want to do this too many times. I'm just going to write a program to do it. Okay, so the next step is to figure out what the equivalent states are. So let's circle them. Let's see. All we do is we look for something that doesn't have an X through it. Right here is an equivalent state. Here's another one. All right, here's another one. Here's another one. Those were equivalent to begin with. Okay, so this one is DB. This one is GC. We have 2 here. We have BH, and DH. The one right here, we've got one right here on this row. I guess I'm doing rows. EI. And here I have one that's JF. None here, here. Here I have ME and IM. Here I have FN, JN. And then the last row right here I have CO and GO. Alright, so I'm going to work over here now. My goal is to put these together in combinations. So let's see, D, B, B, H, D, H. There, I've got one. So I can go from D to B, from B to H, and from H back to D. So I've crossed off this one, and this one. All right. GC, COGO. Wow. G, C, CO, and then OG. So I made these three equivalent. All right. EI, IM, ME. Right. So I've got EI, IM, and then ME. So I've crossed off this one, and this one. All right, JF and JN. No. I have to have NF. It's not going to work. I've got JF, and that will work. Right. Okay. JF, FN, and then NJ. So that gets rid of these guys, and these guys. So they're all covered. Well, I've covered these equivalent states I found. Now what we need to do is do a coverage map of all of the original states. So let's just summarize. I found that D, B, and H are equivalent. G, C, and O are equivalent. E, I, and M are equivalent. And J, F, and N are equivalent. So I've gone from 12 states down to 4 states right here. Okay, so it looks like I did this okay. Same 4. Now what I need to do is a coverage map. Looking right here, this should not be a G, this should be a J. But if it was a G, we'd have a problem because you can't have overlapping states like you do in Carnot maps. You'd have to split this up, just eliminate that F, G, or, you wouldn't be able to do this. But anyway, let's get back to our coverage map here. What I want to do is I want to cover all the states, the original states. So I had A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, and O. MIE is going to cover M, cover I, and cover E. N, F, J is going to cover N, F, and J. O, G, C is going to cover C, O, and G. And then D, H, B is going to cover D, H, and B. So the ones that's left uncovered is A. It's not mentioned anywhere. B, C, is D covered? Yeah, right here. E's covered right there. F, G, H, I, J, K. K's not covered anywhere. L is not covered anywhere. M, N, and O. So in summary, our coverage map would be A, K, L, M, I, E, N, F, G, O, G, C, D, B, G. And we would be reducing from 15 states to 7 states.